Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Welcome to the KNWLDG podcast. I'm your host, Knowledge. Who do I have sitting to my left?
Hey, it's your boy B Wood, bringing all the spice, all the adobo.
Your favorite DJ's favorite DJ today?
Your favorite DJ's favorite DJ, a.k.a. I'm trying to find my inner peace. So.
Yeah, well, is that a 2-piece or a 3-piece? Like, we talking about chicken or we talking about?
We talking about, chicken.
Popeyes?
Well, yeah, because, the more I think about it, hot take right here. Bojangles is trash.
That's not a hot take. That's a fact. It's only a hot take if it's debatable.
I mean, we are in the cradle of the Bojangles empire, but
Bojangles is trash.
Yeah, Popeyes is that good? Is that good? So.
Yeah, Bojangles. My homegirl Donna, shout out to Donna. Donna said that she feels like Bojangles is like a covertly racist operation, and that every time a black person buys chicken from there, like she feels like somebody in the back is watching the camera talking about, got another nigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just think about the name Bojangles just feels racist. It doesn't feel good in your spirit.
So it's along the lines of every time you have Bojangles chicken, one of the ancestors cries a little bit.
I believe so.
Yeah,
I really believe so. Now, the chicken supremes, the chicken fingers, are the only thing on the menu that's really worth getting.
I will see your point, and I will raise you that a chicken biscuit is good at, on a morning when you when trying to that recovery meal.
Yeah.
The good chicken biscuit,
especially if it's a Sunday and you can't get a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, well, fuck Chick-fil-A.
What? Damn! Why is it? Wait a minute, sir. Now
we've already discussed my
feelings. We have
discussed
this, but it is still the official chicken sandwich of the rapture, sir. Like, let's I feel like Jesus owns stock in Chick-fil-A. I'm just being honest with you.
He may, but if he does, fuck Jesus too.
Whoa!
It is Sunday.
Let's move on. You just really.
I told you, man. Look, I'm coming with all the adobo, all the Cholulas.
Come on, man. Yeah. Please don't say that around
all the
me.
Texas Pete's, all the. I'm bringing that spice today.
Speaking of people that had spice. Apparently, the entire country of the United States has now been banned from Thailand for the abuse that the U.S. women's national team put on their soccer team. A 13-0 victory for the women's national team in the FIFA Women's World Cup. How you lose 13-0? Like, did they just is this Thailand's like first year having a team or something?
Well, my question is, how do you make it to the World Cup and give up a 13 spot?
Jesus and Mero was like, man, they was just learning how to play on the sideline. They was reading books. They said, wait a minute, we don't wear helmets?
Yeah, look, first of all, shout out to them. I mean, you gotta, respect them for making it to the World Cup. That's quite an accomplishment. But all y'all people that think, they should have backed off, they should have, not celebrated. Fuck y'all.
You don't show up if you're not ready to play.
Right.
That's
you're on the world's biggest stage. You play. Herm Edwards said it best. You play to win the game, and the U.S. did. Now, I do think that at a certain point, you tone down the celebration piece of it. I mean,
it's no longer fun. It's like It's like beating up on the kid that won't fight back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
I feel bad for the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Having played goalie, having, been in a situation where I gave up 10, I've given up a dime bag before, but it was only because, like, first of all, our team was made up of guys from, like, the 6th grade all the way through the 12th grade.
Right.
I had the most experience of anybody on the team, and they stuck me in goalie. I was like, this is not a good idea because I've never played goalie.
Right.
Now, it was crazy because I gave up a dime, but I had, like, 24 stops.
Right.
And so it's like, you have a good game and a bad game at the same time. Yeah. Like, the ball didn't leave our half of the field literally for, like, 70 minutes of the game.
Right. Yeah. It's a tough situation. I thought it was a class act on Carly Lloyd. After the game was over, she immediately went over to the Thailand goalie and, dapped her up.
Yeah.
That's a classy move. But when you're up 9-0, 10-0, 11, you don't
when
need,
you're an international player like that, if you're up 6-0,
you don't need to have the individual celebrations. I mean, it's cool if the team wants to come together, do a high five, group hug, whatever.
But at some point, it becomes like you being a jerk.
Right, and they cross the line. Now, I have no problem with them running up the score. You know, we live in this age of everybody gets a trophy and everybody's a special angel. Nah, man. Like when I grew up playing sports, like if you got that ass whoop, you caught an ass whooping.
Right.
And you knew not to let it happen again. You just you learn from those mistakes. It makes you a better person, I think. It
makes you work harder because you never want to feel that feeling again.
Right, and it shows you you don't want to experience that again. So you work harder, you practice more, you commit yourself. And sometimes look in life, you just take an L.
Yeah.
And no better place to learn that than on the sports field as a kid. So, I guess shout out to Thailand. They did have a better result today, playing against Sweden. They only lost 5-1. They actually put one up on the board.
Hey.
So shout out to them. I
think
the
U.S. plays Chile
now.
Yeah.
So
in like 10 minutes from where we're recording.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's and then also look at the fact that they are a country that a lot of these countries are just kind of getting behind their women's sports program. You look at Argentina, they were excited because they got a 0-0 draw, which gave them their first point ever in a Women's World Cup. And that's also something to be acknowledged, because you have to realize how far those federations have had to come to support those women and provide them with the opportunity to compete on the stage. So
allow me to say, so I'm really excited about 2 games that are coming up this afternoon, which are men's matches. They're international friendlies. And this is not the soccer podcast. I'm just a soccer fan. You're wearing your soccer jersey today. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Shout out Barca.
So it's one of those things where like I'm excited. These are international friendly games with African nations.
Okay.
Senegal is playing, my home of ancestry. My ancestral home.
Your 23andMe
Nigeria.
home?
Yeah, of Nigeria.
Okay.
Never been there, but I'm claiming it because I firmly believe that Nigeria is Wakanda.
I'm down with it.
The other 2 nations that are playing are Egypt and Guinea. And just for y'all that didn't know, and I didn't realize this was actually a thing, so I'm gonna say this out loud. Y'all know Egypt is in Africa, right?
Y'all better know.
No, there are some people who really didn't know Egypt is in Africa.
That hurts my heart.
It hurts my soul. Like, for the first time I heard it,
I just
when I was
died
in the
a little
military. There was a young lady who I was talking to, and she was like, "I didn't even know Egypt was in Africa." I was like,
Oh,
"Where did you think you? What? And you graduated from high school?"
the American school system.
Bless your heart.
Oh Lord.
Bless your little dumbass heart.
We
And then she transitioned the conversation to a Tyler Perry's version of For Color Girls.
Oh.
And I said, you probably should read the book. I think you would probably get, a little bit more out of it if you read the book. She was like, "Oh no, I don't do that reading shit." Like, she literally said that to me. And I was like,
this is where we are these days.
And this was 10 years ago. This was almost 10 years ago. And I was like,
sad.
we've only gotten worse since then.
That's so sad. But can we also talk about? So first of all, shout out to the African friendlies. I always root for the black teams.
It's kind of easy to
black
do that
and brown teams.
Kind of easy to do that in those matches.
Yeah. So everybody wins. But can we also talk about how the men's team just sucks, and they will never be any good. And I don't understand how the women can be so good at on their side of the ledger, and how the men's team is just so
bad,
so dookie.
So let's talk about this. So there's this thought coming out there about equal pay for the women's team and the men's team.
Right.
And I am all for equal pay. But if I'm not mistaken, it's like the same argument that the WNBA has with their equal pay push. The WNBA doesn't generate enough money and enough revenue to pay them on par with players in the NBA. The women's national team in the Women's World Cup doesn't generate enough money to pay them on par with that of the men's team in the Men's World Cup. it's one of those things where like the economics, like the spirit is there, but the economics don't add up. And I firmly believe that you should be paid equal work, equal pay. I think in this situation, like I think it's a little different. And the reason I say it's a little different is because these are standalone entities that they have to generate their own salaries and their own revenue stream to pay for everything. So if the women's national team is bringing in $3 million and the men's national team is bringing in $300 million, and the gap is not that big. It's just that I can't expect to pay all of my women's team players $200K and still imagine we could make a profit.
But here's the thing: why does it have to be segregated into the men's earnings and the women's earnings? Mm-hmm. Why, since the money is coming from the U.S. Federation, it should all go into one pot, and you pay for performance. That's what I believe. I believe in equal work for equal pay. I believe that equal pay for equal work. I believe that you also incentivize people for their performance and what they've done, the results that they've shown. And by that measure, I could make the argument that you should pay the women's team more.
And I get that. I completely understand that argument. But the argument against that is that with the men's team generating the lion's share of it, this is not a marriage. And so the money doesn't split 50-50 in business like it would in a marriage. So at that point, you run the risk of cheating the men's team who's generating much of your revenue.
But, I guess my argument is why does it have to operate that way?
I get it.
I mean, the question is, so I would liken it to I'll bring it home to you. Let's bring it home to college football.
Okay.
And look at the conference system.
Okay.
So you have, let's just take Alabama for example. It's the SEC.
Roll Tide. We'll take Alabama.
Yeah.
Now I'm well versed in Alabama athletics now, so.
Right. So
I'm gonna try not to be a homer though. So I get
no, it's fine. But it's the same concept, right? So you have Alabama football, which generates millions on millions of dollars in revenue a year, right? All that money comes into the university, right? The university doesn't say, well, Alabama men's football, you generated all this money, but women's swimming, you don't generate. You generated this little bit of money, so we're gonna fund it that way.
But they do.
Not.
I get what you're saying. I get your argument.
Because basically what's happening is that Alabama football is basically funding the rest of the entire athletic department.
Pretty well, for the most part, it is
because it's probably the only profitable sport.
Well, the basketball teams
maybe
breaks even for the most part. They break even just on raw stuff, but in terms of everything else like that they generate, they actually do make a pretty decent penny. They make us, but it's nowhere near the football team.
Right.
The gymnastics program at Bama is almost actually they are self-sustaining.
Right.
But to continue the dominance that they have in the sport, they get a little bit of money. And so they get you do kind of get more money based on your performance, which is why Bama baseball looks like how it looks.
Yeah.
But you invest your resources. See, the thing is with Alabama's athletic department being a generator for a lot of other departments on campus, a lot of that money gets spread around, but it's a very, very small percentage of what they take in every year because they take the lion's share, reinvest it back into Bama football, which keeps Bama football on top.
Understandable.
And so the per diem that you get as a football player when you go out of town is very different from the per diem you may get as a women's soccer team.
Right.
Because we had women's soccer, we didn't have men's soccer.
Right.
And Title IX did a good job at ensuring a bit of parity across the board.
Right.
But there is still, and really it's just, that you have equal opportunities for all the athletes. But there is still that idea that, hey, the king gets the big piece of chicken.
Right.
And so whatever's bringing in the most money is going to get the most money at the end of the day.
Right. And I understand that. But I think that the proportions are probably a little bit more equitable.
Now, let's look at it like this, too. I think, and this is just a thought here, I think that the allure of playing for the men's national team isn't as great as it was in the 90s, of course, when Landon Donovan and Kobe Jones and all those guys were on the field.
True.
Alexi Lawless and all those guys. I think that, and we see the same thing with basketball. I think that you have to pay some of these guys more so that they will even step on the field for you, especially when they can make more money and have probably a little bit less stress and more success playing in, the Premier League or the Champions League, some of them Copa America. I think that, those places over there, like, think about, let's be honest, English Premier League is basically the NBA.
Right.
And the money that those guys are getting, U.S. men's soccer can't pay them that, but you got to pay them something to even step on the field. I don't think that allure and draw is as strong for the women. I don't think that women's soccer, like you said, a lot of these places are just now getting teams. I think that U.S. women's soccer is the draw for women's soccer in America and across the globe.
Absolutely.
I think they're the sports ambassadors. So while I do think they deserve more, don't mistake my argument as thinking that they don't deserve to be paid significantly better. But I do believe that there's some political stuff there. There's some financial and business decisions there. And it's just it's a web of different things dealing with money, power, a bit of privilege, and the reality of it is it all boils down to the bottom line.
Understandable. I just I think that again we tout this sense of equity and wanting to drive a sense of fairness across the board, and I think that certainly if you look at the performance. If you look at the performance of the women's team and you look at the performance of the men's team comparably, I don't think you can argue that they're in two different stratospheres. And I get your point that you have to pay these guys. And again, part of and to get back to the point of having, the allure of playing for the U.S. men's national team, the part of that has been kind of washed away by the fact that they've gone out and started recruiting players with dual citizenship.
Yeah.
And so,
I don't like that. I don't like it.
I don't.
I think let them choose. Don't recruit. Let them choose.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately those guys get a choice, right? So if you have a player that, and a lot of times it just comes down to the talent level of. So if you have a guy that's got, let's just say, German and U.S. dual citizenship. Sorry, it could be that player may not have a chance to get on the team. Mm-hmm. Or if they do make the team, they're not going to see the field playing for the German team. However, if they come over to the U.S.,
they see in the field.
They're going to see the field. They're going to start. They're going to play all 90 plus minutes. So, I just think that also kind of whitewashes the allure of the playing for the men's national team. But that's I don't know. It's just a thought to kind of tag along to that, but.
Yeah, I'm actually going to try out for the Nigerian team.
Hey.
And the Sierra Leonean team.
All right.
With my bad knees.
Let's go.
I'm not trying out to be on the field. I'm trying out as water boy.
Hey, that's all right.
Trying to hold a flag and chant in Yoruba or Igbo or something.
I'm down with it. Let's get it.
Yeah. So anyway, moving right along. Speaking of foreign countries, Toronto won the NBA championship. Drake went out there and had an amazing performance. Left it all on the court.
Battled through injury.
I'm trying to tell you, Drake really was the Finals MVP this year, man.
You thought Kevin Durant was courageous.
Goodness.
Drake's performance.
We need a 30 for 30 on Drake, man. Jeez.
Really?
He dropped a triple-double that last game. He ordered, really he had a triple-double. He ordered 10 hot dogs. Yeah. 10 alcoholic beverages, and had 11 assists because he paid for 11 other people's drinks.
But just think about all the club bangers we're going to get this summer.
I'm
talking about NBA.
About
NBA championships.
No, damn it, no. I was the reason I didn't want Toronto to win was so that we didn't have to hear these damn songs by Drake. I'm sick of his ass. Like I really, he want to be Spike Lee so bad.
You don't like Champagne Poppy?
I do not like Champagne Poppy when it comes to shit like this. Okay, like here's the thing though. If you really think about it, people was like, "Oh, the Drake curse is broken." No, it's not. Think about it. He has Kevin Durant and Steph Curry's numbers tattooed on his body. The Drake curse is in full effect. It's in full effect.
Wow. Knowledge is in his feelings.
There
right
was
now.
nothing. Kiki, do you love me? I'm just saying. Like, no, damn that. Oh my God, I was so annoyed with that. No, and he's already dropped like 2 songs.
Yeah, day after.
And he had him in the tuck. We know he had him in the tuck.
Of
ready
course.
to go.
Yeah, I mean, come on now.
But apparently in one of the songs, he brought back up his smoke he had with Pusha T.
Why you going? Why you going?
It's one of them situations like, man, leave him alone.
You don't want that. You don't want to see that man. Just he already bodied you once. This was your opportunity to just bow out gracefully, take the L, and move on with your life.
When I heard it, I felt like Red's dad from Friday. I was like, why you come over here messing with these people? Get in the car. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you are hiding a child.
Bruh. And some dude tried to say, Drake really won that battle. Sir, sit your stand ass down.
Please. Stop with
He tried to say boxing. He was like, well, Drake landed more shots. I'm like, yeah, but Drake got hit with a knockout blow and didn't get back up.
Right, yeah.
He had a standing 8 count. He chose not to come out of the corner.
Yeah,
I mean, let's just be honest about it.
Some people just don't know what they're talking about.
I have a rule. Never debate, discuss, or argue hip-hop with people who don't actually listen to hip-hop.
Facts.
I mean, that's just it. Don't do it. It's gonna cause you much stress and too many headaches. And in 2019, we don't have time for that.
No,
don't have time for.
We got more important things.
Speaking of stress and headaches,
wait, shout out to Danny Green, UNC Project, another championship. By the way, UNC has more NBA championships than any other school out there. I'm just gonna put that out there. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
I just got
for that update.
Just had to lay that out there.
That's awesome.
Let people know.
That's awesome. So the rich are getting richer, apparently, in the NBA. Anthony Davis has agreed to be a Laker.
Secure the bag, young man. Secure that bag.
I don't want to see AD as a Laker, man. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't.
Look, man, it's the new NBA. You only got...
I don't want to see AD.
You gotta have your star trio with a couple of role players. That's how it's the era of super teams. Long gone are the days where you just had guys that would just grind it out for a season, a few seasons, and then hopefully the pieces fall in place. Now, I mean, all credit to the players. The players are actually taking command of their own careers, which is great. I wholly endorse it. But you're stacking the deck against some of these teams, man. Like the Lakers are gonna be able to always pay more than.
I mean, 'cause they got the money for the luxury tax,
right? So I mean, you're never going to be able to compete with some of these teams, and now it's just they just structure the deal so you can get those 3 marquee players,
right?
The 3 guys on your press book, and then some guys that can just fill in and just basically take up minutes.
So I was reading where they said that if the Warriors re-sign KD and Clay, they said, I think over the course of 4 years, we're looking at almost, I think, if I recall correctly, it was almost $2 billion in payroll.
Oof.
I was like, you got to be kidding me. But I was like, if they get all 3, they'll be able to make that.
Right.
I think they'll be able to make that and definitely still cover everything over the next couple of years. I mean, those guys are a huge draw. What I would like to see personally, I would like to see KD come back to the Warriors. I would. I don't think he will. I would like to see it.
I would too.
I would like to see Clay stay.
Yeah.
I would like to see Boogie stay.
Yeah.
I want to see Boogie stay and develop. I want them really to focus on his development over the next year.
Right.
Because think about it. The whole season we saw flashes of brilliance.
Right.
In the finals, he came in and did his thing.
Right.
Well, when he had to step up.
Right.
Boogie stepped up.
Right.
And I want to see them trade Draymond Green. I'm going to tell you why I want to see them trade Draymond Green. It's not because I have a problem with Draymond as a player. I like the idea of having somebody be the emotion and the heart of the team and all that. What I don't like is the fact that Draymond's emotionality overshadows anybody that is normal and stable's basketball IQ.
Right. And
he gets emotional at the wrong times about the wrong stuff that then gets them texts like they got in the last game that, causes him to react and act out and play wild and catch extra fouls and get in foul trouble. I want to see them with somebody a little more disciplined. I I wouldn't mind seeing them with Zach Randolph. He just got dealt somewhere else. I wouldn't mind seeing them with a Zach Randolph, somebody who could still be a lockdown defender. I wouldn't mind seeing them go after, a couple other guys. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing them, maybe pick up a good big man in the offseason and, have a twin tower, have a Boogie and another good big man. Like, if Bol is even halfway healthy,
right?
Bulk him up a little bit and have him down there. Put him on one of the low blocks. If you want to go to your tall lineup, do that. Have KD, Boogie, and Bol down there making it happen.
Right. Yeah.
Rim protectors.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the scariest rim protection thing I've put together in a while.
Yeah.
And I'm not a basketball expert by any stretch of the imagination. So these are just my ideas. This just came up across my Twitter feed not too long ago. The Lakers, now that they have Anthony Davis, are going to aggressively pursue Kemba Walker.
I thought Kemba said he wasn't leaving, which would be the dumbest thing you could ever do.
He leaves. He leaves a lot of money on the table. He stays. He'll never win a championship.
Yeah, Charlotte is the place where NBA players come to die. This is the last stop on your career in Charlotte. And, it's just a lot. I mean, it's just the fact that I think Charlotte is I hate to go back to soccer, but it's like the MLS of basketball teams.
Yeah.
It's like I want to get one more good paycheck.
Charlotte is like the XFL.
Right. I want to get that one more paycheck, one more contract. And then, ride off into the sunset.
For those of you that don't quite understand what we're saying, so imagine the NBA being Nike's, and look at the status that Nike has all over the globe. Charlotte is like, coming to Charlotte is like you can go into a Nike outlet, that's the Lakers, or the Nike store, that's the Lakers, that's Golden State, that's even the Knicks, even though they suck. I mean, they're still one of those teams that have that pool, have that status. Coming to Charlotte is like going to the Skechers outlet.
Yeah.
Just so you guys kind of understand.
Pay less shoes. It's
it's just one of those situations,
like
man.
You can find what you're looking for here.
So this makes me think, is Kemba really for the bag, or is he for the legacy?
I don't know. How much money does he need?
It ain't about need, it's about want.
Right. Well,
I mean, he might be like Latrell Sprewell talking about, I can't take $20 million, I got to feed my family.
Hey.
Which I thought was the dumbest statement ever said in the history of sports.
Look,
and there's been a lot.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of dumb stuff said.
I can't argue against him, but,
I can.
Well. Yeah.
If you can't feed, now, don't get me wrong, he had a lot of kids. But if you can't feed your family on $20 million, you living wrong.
You break it down, half of that's going to taxes.
You still living wrong.
You got, I'm sure you have alimony and all sorts of child support payments.
You still living wrong.
Look, man.
You hadn't said nothing yet that makes me say I can't survive on $20 million.
Look, Biggie said more money, more problems. I don't know.
The rest of us believe in more money, more opportunities. But anyway,
yeah.
So let's move right along. Y'all president still saying dumb shit on Twitter. Well, and on interviews too.
You don't have to qualify. You can just say he's still saying dumb shit.
Yeah. Talking about, he said, if a foreign government comes to me with information on my opponent, I'm not going to call the FBI. I don't think I've ever called the FBI. That's not how life works. Sir, that's exactly how life works. Like,
yes.
The fuck? Like, what is wrong with this dude?
We don't have enough lifetimes to
You're correct,
to
sir.
evaluate that. However, let's consider the following. He has now opened the door for a corruption charge.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for those of you out there that, let's bring you up to speed, collusion is not actually a crime.
Mm-mm.
That said, it's not something that you want to have be involved in, but the actual crime is conspiracy and corruption, and that is what they get you on. not the collusion. It's the conspiracy and the conspiracy charge. So he has now opened the door.
Yeah, for that conspiracy charge.
If he would receive foreign assistance, he has now opened the door for a corruption charge, and they could rightly charge him.
He should be charged.
He absolutely should be. That all said, yeah, he's just a dumb. He's just a dumbass. And the part that really frustrates me is the fact that you have his camp out there trying to make false equivalencies. Well, like if Hillary hadn't gotten it, she wouldn't have done it, or Hillary or Bernie had done. And I'm like,
dumbass.
Do you not understand that there are people that actually do operate within the norms and means of a civilized society? There was a campaign. I think it was the John Kerry campaign. They didn't even receive information on their opponent. I think they may have received some information on Barack Obama back in the during that campaign, or was it? No, he didn't run against Obama. Oh, Kerry ran against. Who did he run against? Anyway, I can't remember right now. I'm
I get it.
Too much alcohol resin in there, but anyway, they actually received opposition research on one of their opponents, and they called the FBI because it's not information that you're supposed to have. That is what normal people do. That is the normal response. You can't make you can't try to make this equivalency like everybody operates under the same auspices as individual one, the unindicted co-conspirator in several federal crimes, occupying the White House. That is categorically the wrong way to go. So with that, I think that one of the things that we need to understand is that there's no room for this kind of behavior.
Yeah, it's 100% wrong.
If this had happened with a Democratic candidate, you can best believe that they would all be
Mitch the Turtle
crying and screaming from the hilltops about how wrong this is. So their response is par for the course. The Democrats' response is par for the course. We're just.
I have to tell you too. I've lost faith in Nancy Pelosi. I know you told me to give her a chance. I'm sorry. I'm
telling you, dude. Don't.
She came out her mouth with impeachment is the most divisive thing that you can do at this time, ma'am. At what point are you gonna stop playing it safe? And letting these people basically run over you.
So here's my argument, and this flies in the face of conventional logic out there for the Democratic strategists out there. So everybody's out here crying about, we need to impeach, start the impeachment inquiry, blah blah blah. For what? We have proven over and over, time and time again, that the American people have the collective memory and intelligence of a fruit fly. So why?
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with that.
Why would you start an impeachment inquiry at this point when you don't even have a nominee, and you are so far out from the election that anything that comes of this inquiry is just gonna fall into the collective ether of noise?
But I think this is exactly when you strike.
No,
because if he's the preemptive nominee and he's no longer in office and can then be prosecuted at that point, people are saying it's going to energize his base. His base been energized.
Right.
That's
right.
Not
they're
even, that's
coming.
Not
they're coming to vote. So
I think that
take that off the table.
I think that you then cripple the Republican apparatus.
But why? But again, my question is, why would you do it now? I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying why do you do it now?
Now is the time to do it.
Why?
I think now is the exact time.
You think so? You think by opening an inquiry, all this information comes out, and these people and the public is going to remember that information when they go to the voting booth.
No, but it also gives the front runners the people who actually have a chance of winning an opportunity to galvanize around something while still making their case for being the best.
But again, why do you have to do it right now?
Why shouldn't you?
Because I would argue
every single day this man is in office is another day that we continue to go down the toilet.
Because I would argue.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think that black people have a dog in this fight.
Right.
Either way.
I would argue that the better time to do it is this time next year. That's when you start the inquiry.
No.
Yeah. Here's why. All the information starts to come out. People actually start paying attention to politics.
I think that would energize his base.
Why?
Look, listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying.
Let's understand. His base is already energized. They are coming to vote no matter what.
But listen to what I'm saying. We'll then see the 53% buy into they're just beating up on him, and they're gonna portray him as the victim because they love a good victim. We know this. If we're gonna siphon some of that 53% that tanked the election last year, we cannot give him an opportunity to play victim.
But how is he the victim if you're actively pulling out crimes that he's committed?
He's been the victim plenty of times before.
Right.
They believe in that whole fake news narrative. They believe that the Democratic Party is corrupt in their intent.
That's because they give them time to spend. You got to understand, people are not smart. People don't pay attention to this stuff until it's time. My thing is, if you start an inquiry now, you're going to pull out a bunch of information. A bunch of stuff's going to come out that, he was involved in this, involved in that. All that does is give them time to run their operation to spin that story.
But if you give them,
give them the time?
If you give it to them in full election mode, when they've got the full brunt and weight of the conservative misinformation machine spun up and clicking and firing on all cylinders.
You don't think that's happening now?
Trust me, with the communication cycle being the way it is, there's lag time now. There's lag time now. By this time next year, there will be no lag whatsoever.
But my point is, by opening an inquiry later, starting an inquiry later, and I'm not saying that they should impeach. Let's first of all, let's put that on the table. I'm not saying that they should impeach him, because it's not going to work. You're not going to get you'll get it past the House, you'll never get it past the Senate. So why even bother with the impeachment? But you start the inquiry, right? The inquiry basically draws out the information into all the crimes and misdealings that he and his administration have been involved in, and it makes it public.
More people.
So my argument is, I would do it at a point when the election, the campaigns are in their full swing, because what does that do? It's now a distraction for him. You have now effectively distracted him from his campaign.
But
now he's got to go.
Look
now
at
he's
what
got to go.
President P.T. Barnum already does with distractions.
But he's now got to go answer.
He parlays distractions into these amazing spectacles that gets him more.
But he's now got to answer to Congress on things that are coming out. And if the Democrats,
which he'll never do.
But again, it all has to work perfectly. But the Democrats then have to, get their message together. They have to. Put things, they have to basically hammer him on the fact that he is now in an impeachment inquiry where all these facts are coming out. So they need to hammer home the facts, like, he was involved in this, he's involved in that, and really bring to the forefront the rampant criminality of what they've been involved in.
I don't think that they have the balls or the strategy to do either.
I'm not saying that they do. I'm just saying that I can see a space where an impeachment inquiry right now doesn't make sense. I can see a strategy where if you pursue it later, because let's also remember that impeachment is not a judicial argument. It is a political argument. It is a political device. So my argument is, why not use it as such? Use it as something to galvanize your base around the fact that this guy is a rampant criminal. His base is already going to be galvanized. They're already coming to vote. All I'm saying is that you have an opportunity to go out and get those people who are quote unquote in the middle by exposing his criminality and exposing the misgivings at a time when they're actually going to be paying attention to it. Right now, no one's paying attention to anything that's happening.
You want to know what the proof? You want to know what proof I have that Democrats are punks?
I mean, just
hold on.
they're breathing.
Hear me out.
Go ahead,
You want to know what proof I have the Democrats are punks?
please.
The fact that nobody has whooped Mitch McConnell's ass yet.
Yeah,
The fact that he has not taken a whole entire ass whooping at some point is proof to me that Democrats are punks.
but what do you?
But I'm gonna leave it alone.
But what are you going to? But what are they going to do?
Whoop Mitch McConnell ass. No. I mean, like, somebody needs to stand up in the Senate and begin with the words, "You got me fucked up," and proceed to punch Mitch McConnell in the face.
Look,
I think that solves a lot of problems.
look, I'm down for that smoke, but
I think we need a sacrificial senator.
man, we can't afford this. We can't afford that.
Yeah, we can.
We gotta
You have to make sure
hang on
it's
to
a-
every senator we
Make
got.
sure it's a senator from somewhere that's staunchly Democratic.
You gonna have Chuck Schumer punch him in the face?
Yes.
All right, I'm down for it.
And elbow dropped him.
I'm down for it.
I really feel like somebody should whoop his ass. Like I really, and I think that there should be some sort of apparatus, within the House and Senate to remove a senator like him.
Oh, absolutely. I've long been a proponent of term limits.
Well, not just term limits, but also I think there
Term
should
limits,
be a
but
senatorial recall for people like him.
There absolutely should be. There absolutely should be. The problem the problem you run into there is a separation between federal and state. The separation of federal system versus state system. So he actually gets elected by the state. So by removing him at a federal level, you are overriding the state. It would never stand in this by the Supreme Court.
And I get it, but there's got to be some way to
For misconduct.
Well, I do believe that at this point he's committed multiple acts of misconduct by not even allowing any bills to come forth. The Senate has done nothing.
Well, honestly, he hasn't. Honestly, he hasn't.
It's dereliction of duty,
But,
and it borders on criminal.
But that's the problem, is that it's not dereliction of duty because he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to do any of that.
Okay, and that's fine. But the thing is, what you're doing. But the thing is, by giving him that excuse, either systematically or theoretically or philosophically, by giving him that excuse that he doesn't have to do essentially what his job is, you're basically saying that what's the purpose of government at that point then?
I completely understand what you're saying. I am in complete agreement with you. All I'm saying is that by the current standard, there's nothing
which he has worked his best to change when he sees fit.
Right. There's nothing that they can do about him.
Personally, I think that he's Satan.
The only thing I agree. The only thing that you can do is Satan in a turtle uniform. The only thing that you can do is run somebody against him from the Democratic side in Kentucky and hope to God something changes. But
somebody to beat him up. Man.
It's Kentucky. Look, man, I've long since said that. Well, I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm not gonna put that out.
Right. Let's move on to.
I don't need the
more,
FBI showing up at my door.
Exactly. That's why I haven't said half of what I really think.
Right.
Let's move on to some more trash things about this country. Apparently nobody's responsible for shooting. Nobody's responsible for shooting Ryan Twyman 37 times. He was asleep in his car. Deputies from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department approached him, woke him up, and then started firing. Somebody said they approached his car and said woke him up, said he's got a gun, and then just opened fire on him. Yeah, they opened his door while he was asleep.
Man, I
never asked his name, nothing.
So
then you got that one. Wait a minute, let me get through it. Let me get through it. Then you've got a young man that was killed in the Fraser neighborhood in Memphis. Brandon Weber, that's his name. He was 20 years old. He was allegedly a college student. He was a father. He was a father of his girlfriend went into labor as he was being killed, essentially. He got shot between 16 and 20 times. U.S. Marshals tried to arrest him on multiple warrants related to an incident that happened in Mississippi. And allegedly, he answered an ad on social media regarding a vehicle, said he went to meet the guy for the vehicle, And while they were switching places, Weber shot the guy 5 times and then took the car. I'm not, and the owner then identified him in a lineup and all that. So yeah, it's weird. This guy actually, and apparently he was driving the same car that he shot the guy and stole. So the marshals came to get him. He allegedly rammed their vehicles with the vehicle that he had stolen, which was a red Infiniti. And it was really strange because, number one, his father said none of this makes sense. My son had an Audi over here, not stolen, still sitting here in the driveway.
Right.
My son has a Kia that he had for his girlfriend, sitting over here, not stolen. Why would he go all the way to Mississippi to steal a car that he saw on Facebook and bring it back to here?
Right.
Knowing it's stolen. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
So apparently he started ramming their cars as they came up on him. And then he allegedly got out with a weapon. He's then shot 16 to 20 times. And then they allegedly slammed him on his head while he was handcuffed after shooting him, which broke his neck. Now, what makes this situation, the reason that people are upset in Memphis is that the tensions were already high there. Hours before this killing that the U.S. Marshals did, the district attorney's office announced that no charges would be filed against a Memphis police lieutenant who shot and killed a man last year. So Terrence Carlton was that guy's name. He was killed in April 2018. Yeah.
I mean,
they said he got shot because they said he did not comply with officers. They said they thought he had something in his hand. He didn't have anything in his hands, and so they shot and killed him. Then a video shortly afterwards gets released from Phoenix, city of Phoenix. This little 4-year-old girl, apparently walked out of a Family Dollar or a Dollar General with a $5, baby doll or something like that. The parents didn't know she had walked out with it. The store didn't call the police, but some nearby folks saw it and called the police. The police rolled up on this family. The mother is holding a baby. The father is pulled out of the car. He tells him to spread his legs and then leg sweep him. This guy says he's going to pop a cap in their head. Like, he's being real extra and over the top. Threatens to shoot the woman while she's holding the baby, grabbing her and all that. I try to actively stay away from watching these videos and, doing the details of all this. But it popped up on my timeline, and I was like, what? And I looked at it, and it immediately made me mad. Bishop Talbert Swan said, to a certain extent, those officers are lucky. And the reason he said that is because it's some brothers in some neighborhoods that's not going to let you run up on the mother of their child like that.
Right.
Whether you a cop or not.
Right.
It's some brothers out there that's not going to let you run up on a woman that's holding a baby and you threatening to shoot her like that.
Right.
At that point, you're completely out of line. Now, the police officer, the police chief, and the woman was pregnant, by the way, too. The police chief is a black woman. She said that she wants to get to the bottom of it. They refused to name the officer. The family is seeking $10 million in damages from the city, which I think they should get every single penny of it.
I would say just 10.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to even go there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we already know what a black life is worth in this country.
Yeah.
But their attorney said the police officers committed battery, unlawful imprisonment, false arrest, infliction of emotional distress, and violation of civil rights under the 5th and 14th Amendments. What's interesting about this is that the young man, was complying with every single, these guys were looking for a reason to shoot these folks.
Right.
The young man in the video, there are 2 angles of this video. The young man is literally complying with everything the officers are saying. Officer said, "Get your hands up." He's like, the guy's hands are up. The young man says, "My hands are up. My hands are up." He said, and then he says, "Get your fucking hands up. You're going to get shot." His hands were literally up. He slams the guy into the car, tells him to spread his legs. Apparently, he didn't spread them far enough for him. He literally kicks his legs out. He could have injured this kid.
Right.
You know, he's got his hands behind his back. Like, and he's telling the lady, put your hands up, put your hands up. Dude, she's holding a baby.
Right.
Like, she's holding a whole child, a whole human being.
Right.
And this is what I'm tired. I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, what really has me upset the most is the young man who got killed by the L.A. County Sheriff's Department. He's literally sitting in his car, minding his black-ass business, taking a nap, presumably. He could have just got off a long shift at work.
Right.
You know, he could have had an argument with his old lady and wants to just get in the car, just get some peace. You know what I'm saying? Maybe so he doesn't have to make contact with the police because some neighbors hear some yelling or something like that. Or maybe he was just minding his black-ass business and was, you know, listening to music and fell asleep.
Right.
And so it just, and the thing is, like, no charges are going to be filed. They said the shooting was justified. I mean, and somebody on Twitter said, man, it's getting to the point now where it may just be safer to shoot first and ask questions later if you're a civilian. Now, I don't agree with that because as a firearms enthusiast and a concealed carry holder, I am always telling people, look, the best thing to do is diffuse every situation and not even put yourself in a position to have to pull your weapon.
Right.
Honestly, though, when I'm looking at all this, and I don't watch certain stuff because I do believe that there's a certain thing that wants us to be desensitized to broken, bleeding, and dying black bodies in the streets. I do believe that there are people out there who are trying to do that to us, but I just don't. I don't believe that. I don't believe that all of these things are justified. I don't believe that all of this stuff is coincidence. I don't believe, and what proves that is an article that came out. This guy did a year-long research thing. I've got it in my bookmarks where he said that hundreds of current active law enforcement and retired law enforcement are involved in racist organizations, and they express themselves frequently and are members of Facebook groups that engage in racist activities and even do and even post racist memes. The fact that at the Unite the Right rally, you saw a Blue Lives Matter flag next to a Confederate flag, next to all these white supremacist flags and everything like that, seems to be par for the course.
Right.
This guy did this, said that there are tens of thousands of. So here's what it was. This journalist wrote software that cross-referenced extremist groups like White Lives Matter and Ban the NAACP and Death to Islam Undercover with private groups that only allow police officers, sheriff's deputies, and corrections officers to join. They thought they would get a couple of people. They got more than 14,000 people who were in both.
Damn. God, jeez.
They found there was another number here. And there are tens of thousands of people who are involved in these hateful ideologies who are in law enforcement.
Right.
They found 400 active users in these racist clubs who were current or former law enforcement officers. One of them, I'm going to go through a couple of them. Jeffrey Cosby is a guard at Angola Prison in Louisiana. Allegedly belonged to 56 extremist groups.
That doesn't surprise me. Angola.
It's historically terrible. J.T. Thomas is a detective at the Harris County Sheriff's Office. He was disciplined. He was actually fired after after Harris County officials were notified of a racist meme he posted.
Right.
Will Weisenberger, a sheriff's deputy who belonged to White Lives Matter and was involved in a lawsuit that accused him of systematic racism in his policing. He said, and he admitted to may have using the N-word after punching an already cuffed black man. Lieutenant Richard Moravec, who belonged to an Islamophobic group and was the subject of 70 allegations, including criminal misconduct and excessive force. Joel Quinn of Abbeville, Georgia, who said it was his responsibility to detect possible threats to my community all the way up to and including my country, and said, different things about minorities. And a corrections officer in Wisconsin, Sheldon Best, that said he holds no discriminatory views But he says when he read when
Whenever
it was
you got to put the butt in there.
yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, and the thing is, psychiatrists and psychologists said that engaging in such activity does put these people in positions to have their biases play out in their policing.
Right.
And we already know that. So this is news this is stuff that is not news to black people. And so I said all that basically to say this. If you are black and you are American and you exist in a space where you may possibly have to engage with law enforcement, I'm going to tell you to do whatever it takes to come home safely. I'm going to tell you to use whatever social media you have, go live, make sure that your phone is out of your hand while you go live so that it's not mistaken for a gun, and I'm just going to tell you to get home. I'm going to tell you to stay away from law enforcement, and I am now, and I know this probably may hurt the feelings of, some of my friends and, even some of my family members who are in law enforcement. I don't believe there's a such thing as a good police officer anymore. I don't.
I'm surprised that you ever thought that there was such a thing as a good police officer.
I was trying to give like my friends and family members the benefit of the doubt.
I've never had a good experience with law enforcement ever. Not once. Never once.
I haven't either. And I'll be perfectly clear about that. I've never had a.
And so I don't give anyone any benefit of the doubt. Like if you got to be a special kind of dick to, know the history of law enforcement against people of color in the community, and then go and be a part of that. Now, I'm certainly not saying that there aren't people that want to change things and want to, actually do the right thing. I'm sure that there are a few good apples out there, but the problem is that you hide behind this veil of blue, this blue veil, when things like these events that you chronicled happened, and you don't come out to say anything. It's the blue brotherhood and all this other nonsense. Fuck that. If I'm expected to hold my fraternity brothers in the same when they fuck up, and I'm expected to call them to task, I expect you to have to do the same.
I would prefer people around me that check me than people around me that just let me move all willy-nilly and be fucked off like that. I'm sorry.
Right.
That's just how I roll. Let's say something. I'm sorry. I just got a text message. I want to lighten the mood.
Okay.
Because we've talked about this to the ends of the earth.
Right.
And just say, hey, your outrage is warranted. I'll just tell black people that. But
Always.
I just got a text message from our favorite white correspondent, Miriam, out in L.A.
Hey.
She said she just sent me a text message. She has the most amazing life because the most random things ever in life happen to her, and I have to laugh at them. She said, things to not say to a white woman at an after hours.
Okay.
This actually happened to her.
Okay.
You need to smile because I'm a mean nigga. Hey, man, brothers, we got to come up with better pickup lines, dog.
You got be better to do better.
We got to come up with better pickup lines, like in real life. So I made well, it's not a decision I made, but I was talking to Miriam about this last week, and I said, hey, let me ask you a question. She said, what's up? I said, well, with me being, reluctantly and tragically single these days, what if I wanted to date white women? Like, where would I go? Like, no, seriously, like, where would I go to find lay white women? And she thought this was the funniest thing that she had ever heard in her life. She thought it was like the most hilarious thing. And so she posed a question to her Facebook friends. And so I actually came up with a list of places to find white women. Like the hit go. Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Starbucks, Target, the Starbucks in Target, dog parks, farmers markets, yoga classes, and the Uggs store.
I cannot disagree with any of those. You got to throw in
For the record, I'm not gonna date white women. Not because I don't find any of them attractive. It's
this
just,
nigga
it's
lying.
I feel like all of my like if I pop like if I did rejoin social media and I popped up with Rachel Dolezal or something like that, whoo, do you
Flames.
know the smoke that would be coming my way?
Hey, sometimes you gotta welcome the smoke. Hey,
I mean,
just lean in. Sometimes you just gotta lean into it. I don't disagree with any of those options. I would say the what's that the Lululemon stores.
Lululemon. Gotta go to Lululemon.
That's the spot that I would throw on there. Honestly, just any bar around 1:30 in the morning.
White women have like an annual meeting or something, like a weekly meeting at the bar at 1:30.
Nah, man, I'm just telling you that's when there's time.
Hey, we're gonna go be hot.
That's when that's when they're looking to. Hey, that's when they're looking to make that call. Like, all right, where we going?
Oh my goodness, I've never dated a white woman. Never dated a white woman.
Look, man, I'm just telling you, like, we talk about it like it's like some mystical.
No, it's not that. I don't put a premium on white women or anything like that. It's just that I've
as
never
you shouldn't.
done it.
But the thing about the thing about it is that they're just people, just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
They live in their lane, do the things that they do. I mean, I'd say other places I would anytime like one of these like touring shows comes to town, like they had the Andy facts, but like the Andy Cohen, what's his face, Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper had a like a traveling show, like a 2-man show going around. One of those. They be the turn up for the white women. So
okay.
I'm just they out here. The Beckys are out here.
I guess. I guess. I don't know.
The Beckys are out here.
So speaking of
looking for that DAC.
Let's speaking of let's go from our Nubian white queens to our Nubian queens.
Nubian white queen. That's a whole contradiction.
I know, right? Tiffany Haddish canceled her Atlanta show. Due to the Georgia abortion ban. We got to get out of here shortly.
Okay.
Tiffany Haddish canceled her ATL show due to the Georgia abortion ban. Shout out to her for protecting women's bodies and putting her money where her mouth is.
Shout out to her.
Literally, like, because think about it, she makes money using her mouth.
Somebody tried to make the argument that by people actually doing this, that they're actually hurting women in these places. Look, I'm at the point now where I'm like, look, sometimes you just got to get out.
Right.
You just like
DJ Khaled a bitch. We didn't know he was a salty little bitch until he didn't get #1 on Billboard, and then decided to send some shots at Tyler the Creator.
I thought
that was some bitch ass.
Look,
stuff.
I need this nigga if he's gonna put out a video on. You ain't got not nary one ab, and you gonna be sitting in a car with your shirt wide open.
I don't want to hear nothing else positive from DJ Khaled.
And not no abs? Like, you got to at least have a half an ab.
I don't want to hear nothing else positive from DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled be like, they don't want you to be successful. Nigga, you they. You are they, sir. Nigga, you are they.
He is a whole ass hater.
Just hating for no reason. That boy, Tyler don't do nothing to nobody. All he want to do is kiss boys and make music.
Over something.
That's all Tyler the Creator. No, like, if you listen to his album, like, he does have some songs about guys on there.
I understand, but you had to say it like that, though.
Why not? It's the truth.
Anyway.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride.
Yeah, happy Pride Month.
Y'all, check y'all's bigotry at the door, please, on Pride.
He just want to kiss boys and make music, like Frank Ocean. I wonder if him and Frank... Never mind. No, I don't. Let me not even say that.
Just let it go.
Yeah,
let it go.
Let me just go on.
It's Happy Pride Month.
Yeah, we leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's it for me, man. Which we got an announcement. Very sad to announce that this is our next to last episode of Kinda Sleepy. It is the end of an era. Our next episode, we're gonna invite a lot of our former guests and the Kinda Sleepy family back in here. Yeah. So, yeah. Love y'all.
I hope y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah, but we do have some other things in the works. This is the last time you've heard from me or B Wood. So we've got some other things in the works. I think it's not necessarily the end of something, but rather the beginning of a new chapter. And we'll tell y'all all about that new chapter starting next week. Well, with the next episode. Hopefully it's next week. So, yeah.
So, yeah, sorry to end on a down note. I love the Kind of Sleepy podcast. It's giving me it's like therapy for me. I get to get out all my frustration and anger for the week, so I don't have to take it out on these white folks when I go to work. It's been a special thing for me to be involved in. I hope people out there that have listened to this have enjoyed it. We tried to tackle combination of a whole plethora of piñatas, a whole plethora of issues. Hopefully with a little bit of humor, a lot of seriousness, all from the lens of those in the diaspora. Wanted to thank you, Knowledge, for inviting me to be a part of this venture.
No problem.
Was happy to start as a fill-in and transition to a
regular.
Got my name on the chair like I'm somebody. But
yeah, so we're gonna I'm gonna invite Natty. I'm gonna invite Miss EP. I'm gonna invite everybody to just come back and one more time for the one time.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we'll catch y'all next episode, man. Hopefully y'all had a couple of laughs. I know we talked about a lot of sad shit, a lot of happy shit, but ultimately all is all real shit. What do you got to say before we get out of here?
Love y'all. Protect your tribe. Don't let them steal your joy. Support black people.
Yep.
Always, and except that they canceled or trash. Just we love y'all.
Yeah, we love y'all for real. Like Monique, before we get out of here, only thing I want to say is I'm not re-inviting Chrisette Michelle to the cookout, but I am taking her a plate. Just letting y'all know, taking her a plate.
You know what? I was actually listening to Wale's song Shades, and I didn't realize she was on it.
Yeah,
I was like,
one of my favorite Wale songs of all time. She recognized the error of her ways. I think that she can get a plate. I think that she will be put on probationary status and be sitting at the kiddie table for a couple of years still if she gets invited back.
She can get a plate. I'm not ready to let her full back in yet,
but I still love her. I'm not really throwing any black people away except for Candace Owens, Jesse Peterson, just that group. Kanye West. That group. I'm ready to throw those black people away because I feel like that was the Negroes that would have sold us into slavery.
Right.
But no.
Stevens.
Yeah, bring in Chrisette Michelle a plate now. And that being said, man, protect your peace, love yourself, and black men don't cheat.
Facts.
That is a statement and a suggestion. Anyway, with that being said, we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Holla.
Bye-bye.